Hello, and thank you for tuning in to part one of our Burnout series, brought to you by WorkWellNYC. We will explore what burnout is, potential causes of burnout, common signs and symptoms to be mindful of, as well as distinct types of burnout. We'll share insights and reflective prompts to help you navigate this information, as well as resources and opportunities for further exploration. Part 1. Before digging into the details, let's identify what burnout is. Burnout is defined as a state of emotional, mental, and often physical exhaustion brought on by prolonged or repeated stress. This is an important topic for everyone to be mindful of as we navigate personal and community health as a priority in New York City. Becoming more knowledgeable about this topic could help prevent negative experiences and raise awareness about the potential harmful impact on ourselves or peers. It's worth noting the difference between stress and burnout. Stress refers to the psychological perception of pressure and our body's response to that pressure. Some amount of stress is necessary and normal for most people, given everyday challenges or uncertainties. If stress is short-lived or tied to a specific goal, it's most likely not harmful. However, burnout reflects the state of someone who has experienced prolonged or repeated stress and may explain that it feels like the stress is never ending. Here are some ways these two experiences differ. When you're stressed, you might feel your emotions are heightened and think or say something like, "My work makes me feel really tense and under pressure." But when you're experiencing burnout, you might feel more like you are numb and detached at work. In times of stress, you might feel anxious and be worried about all that has to get done. In contrast, when burnt out, you may feel low and think, "Work leaves me feeling depressed and hopeless." Burnout can appear in many areas of life, including work, parenting, caretaking, or romantic relationships. It can develop gradually, making it hard to notice until it's severe. While most people often associate the term burnout with work and employment experiences, the feelings associated with burnout can be developed in a number of environments or situations. We'll explore burnout and work dynamics in part 2 of this series, but in general, it's important to remember that burnout is not exclusive to people working in an office setting. Certainly, we know that public-facing positions within New York City are extremely stressful and demanding. We also want to consider the effects of managing a household, navigating a global pandemic, or experiencing inequitable policies and systems. People in a number of environments can be in danger of feeling burned out. For example, anyone in a caregiver role may be at risk for developing burnout, with a large amount of their capacity being channeled towards supporting others. This could be part of a personal relationship or someone in a role of child protective service worker, where in many ways they're caregivers to the young people and families they're responsible for. As with any health condition, burnout may show up in different ways for different people. It's important to be aware of and recognize signs and symptoms that are associated with burnout. Symptoms may manifest in a number of ways. Physical symptoms could include lack of energy or sleep disruptions. Mental or emotional impacts might reflect feeling overwhelmed or hopeless. Professional or social signs might look like being unable to meet daily demands or having the desire to withdraw from relationships. Let's take a look at many of the specific feelings or practices people may experience. Burnout may affect how you think, feel, act, and what you pay attention to. You might find yourself worrying about your ability to cope, meet demands, and manage your workload, or dwelling on the loss of your purpose and/or lack of energy. You might identify with feeling like you're exhausted, low, empty, detached, numb, angry, resentful, irritable, overwhelmed, or powerless. You could be finding it difficult to put energy into your work, distancing yourself from peers, losing interest in things outside of work, or even coping in ways that harm your health. When you're experiencing burnout, your attention may be focused on how depleted you feel, signs of being treated unfairly or unequally, or how unrewarding and unproductive your work feels. Symptoms left untreated or unaddressed can lead to serious health concerns, including issues with mental health, such as anxiety, depression, or sleep deprivation, and physical health conditions, including high blood pressure, gastrointestinal issues, or headaches and muscle pain. Again, everyone's health journey is different, so the way that people experience burnout may vary from person to person. As we mentioned in the beginning of this presentation, this is an important topic to consider not just for ourselves, but when exploring the well-being of our communities. Certain populations and groups of people may be at a greater risk of experiencing burnout. Data from the American Heart Association in 2023 showed that employees in lower-income positions and women were less likely to have an employer who has enacted a policy to promote employees' overall well-being in the last 12 months. The report also indicated that a substantial number of staff felt there was no one at their company who could relate to their personal life experiences, especially Black and Hispanic employees, parents, and LGBTQIA+ workers. Other groups that were more likely to report feeling burned out often or always included working parents, younger employees, lower-income workers making less than $50,000, and LGBTQIA+ workers. These insights are incredibly important as you think about yourself and those around you navigating potential burnout. We encourage you to pause here and take time to reflect on the information you've gathered about burnout. Review the potential causes that can be related to work or other daily experiences, as well as signs and symptoms. Take an inventory of your physical and emotional well-being and consider if you might be experiencing a sense of burnout. In our resource guide, you'll find 2 options for a personal assessment. As you explore these tools, indicate your authentic feelings in order to assess potential pain points or necessary supports moving forward. Part 3. Let's talk about the different types of burnout. The World Health Organization has categorized burnout as an occupational phenomenon that results from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. We've noted that there can be various sources of burnout, but burnout in the workplace is a prominent source of concern for many people. With that in mind, there are a few different types of burnout in work environments to consider. First, under-challenged burnout. If you're expected to do the same task every day, you might feel uninterested, underappreciated, or stuck in a rut. A lack of learning opportunities and the monotony of routine tasks can make your job seem unrewarding. An alternate situation is known as neglect burnout. This type happens when you feel helpless in your job. Maybe you don't have the right tools, support, or skills to meet your work's demands. You might feel stressed and helpless, and gradually start to care less about your work, leading to a decrease in performance and motivation. Lastly, overload burnout is probably the most widely recognized type of burnout. It occurs when you're working too hard for too long, often to achieve success or meet high personal standards. Eventually, the strain becomes too much. You may struggle to disconnect from work, impacting your health and personal life. An important note of context here is that some organizations may have good intentions but lack adequate resources or staff to provide equitable environments and supports for their teams. Regardless of the specific type of burnout, a few common issues tend to arise as key causes. A lack of control, clarity, or support, an imbalance between a person's interests, skills, or capacity and their designated responsibilities, and lastly, but just as significant, the potential conflicts one might experience with colleagues or supervisors. Ongoing daily stress, lack of connection to the work tasks, and disruptive or tumultuous interpersonal interactions can impact a person's wellness and potentially lead to burnout. Specific factors that may cause potential burnout include working long or extended hours as part of a profession, working in a helping profession such as healthcare, where people are caring for others in an intense circumstance, and loss of work-life balance due to work responsibilities taking over personal time. These environmental factors aren't direct indicators of burnout, but caution should be considered if one or all of them is true for you. While there are implications on a person's mental and physical health, as we named earlier, such as anxiety, sleep challenges, and headaches, we might also wonder, how does dealing with burnout impact one's actual work performance and role? People experiencing burnout at work may disengage or disassociate from their daily responsibilities, miss deadlines or fail to keep up with tasks and projects, develop resentment towards colleagues who don't understand or possibly contribute to their situation, or may become less innovative and more prone to making mistakes. Here are some questions to consider to shed light on your possible risks for having or developing burnout. Do you question the value of your work? Do you feel removed from your work and the people you work with? Have you lost patience with coworkers, customers, or clients? Do you feel let down by your job? Do you doubt your skills and abilities? How you respond to these prompts could provide valuable insight into how your work experiences are impacting your well-being. In part 2 of this series, we'll explore considerations for prevention and responding to burnout in the workplace further. But let's pause here for now and reflect on the content so far. In this final section, we'll review the key takeaways from this video and ideas for moving forward. Burnout is an important topic for everyone to be mindful of, but we should know what it truly is and how it may manifest in your life. We've established that burnout is a state of emotional, mental, and often physical exhaustion brought on by prolonged or repeated stress, which can appear in many areas of life, including work, parenting, caretaking, or romantic relationships. Symptoms may manifest in a number of ways affecting one's mental or physical well-being. Be mindful if you're experiencing or start to experience any of the signs shared in this presentation. Remember that burnout affects the way you think, feel, act, and what you pay attention to. As you review the symptoms shared in this video, take note of what resonates with your daily experiences and emotions. Now that we've reviewed this important information, let's consider some potential next steps. After viewing this webinar, explore one of the personal self-assessment tools provided in the accompanying resource guide. You could also connect with a loved one or person in your network to share what you discovered as a result of the reflection. Stay tuned for part 2 of this burnout series, discussing what this looks like in work environments and how to prevent and address potential symptoms. The insights shared in this video used guidance and references from the following resources, which are also noted in the resource guide for this series. You're encouraged to explore more of the supports and resources offered by WorkWellNYC. Please visit our website or get in touch for more information.